This time it's our 2019 trip to Spain and Portugal. After a fairly choppy crossing, we proceeded to our first destination of Oviedo, by the mountain road. It's important on these trips to get off the motorways, to get off the beaten track and onto the twisty mountain roads. That's where the real enjoyment comes, where you really get to see what a country has to offer. Our first destination was the town of Oviedo. This had originally been just a point on the map on the way down to Portugal. But what we found was a nice medieval town, and it's well worth a visit because it's near the mountains, so there are plenty of bike routes in the area. And the old medieval heart of the town is very nice to walk around, it's very pretty, and it's a very enjoyable way to spend an afternoon. So after a couple of days here, it was back on the road and down towards Porto. The roads of the region are good quality, and they're very enjoyable to ride to, twisty, undulating, lots of mountain passes. Makes for a very enjoyable journey, particularly in the very pleasant weather that you find in late summer. Our next stop was Porto, second largest city in Portugal, population of about 250,000. It's a very touristy sort of a place. It's also very beautiful. There's a good reason that the tourists go there. Standout attractions are the Dom Luis Bridge and of course the Livrero. This fabulous bookshop was frequented by J.K. Rowling and was a big influence on her when she wrote the Harry Potter novels. But the Porto is best known for anything, it's port wine. And of course, my wife had to partake of it. She'd made me drink a little bit as well. Overall, I'd say Porto was a great place to visit. It's very attractive and there's lots to do. Boat rides, plenty of walks, a number of parks to visit and lots of other attractions too. But all too soon it was time to say goodbye to Portugal and to head our way back into Spain. And to a point, the ride back into Spain went really well. I say to a point because just after we stopped for lunch, disaster struck and the gear change snapped off on the bike. Disaster! We spent an hour stuck at the side of the road till eventually I came up with a bodge using the gear change reversed over, and using my multi-tool as a makeshift lever, we were back on the road. On to our next destination, Salamanca. And Salamanca is a sort of Spanish Oxford or Cambridge. It boasts a number of medieval universities and a rather fabulous cathedral, or two cathedrals, joined back to back. You can visit the university sides and explore them. Many have steps leading onto their roofs, and these afford fabulous views of the city below. Very noisy steps, some of them. Deb had mixed views on this. She really enjoyed the views, but she wasn't so keen on the heights. To my knowledge, Salamanca Cathedral is pretty unique. It's actually two cathedrals in one. The original medieval cathedral and a much later 17th century cathedral built on the side of it. There's a connecting corridor between the two. I must say I much prefer the medieval cathedral myself. Then there's a Roman bridge. This sat on the original Roman road into the city, and these days it's surrounded by parkland. At night it's lit up and attracts vast numbers of bats, which make their way down to the river to feed. Two other interesting attractions are the Art Deco Museum and a rather nice motor museum. This is a very fine collection of Hispano Suiza cars, as well as a number of motorcycles, of course. But as much as we enjoyed Salamanca, it was time to make our way home, or limp home, desperately hoping that our gear change would hold. Which it did, fortunately, because the weather was turning somewhat inclement on the way back, and so we made our way back to Bilbao and the ferry home. Oh, we made it.
Yeah.
Our poorly bike.
I think so, 2 days ago.
I am the Bodgemeister.